Hey, what's up, Game Leapers? This is Coach Iggs. In today's video, the 10 most broken champions you can abuse in low elo. Now, these stats I'm about to get into, these are from every single rank combined and then averaged out. So for the most part, I'm guessing these are from like maybe bronze until about platinum elo. So if you reside in one of those elos, these champions, well, they might actually give you the best chance of winning because they are the most broken against people who don't know how to play against them. That's really what this list is. Now, of course, you can play any champion in the game, guys, until about Challenger and pop off, regardless of how strong or weak they are. So if you want to know the tricks in terms of playing those champions, their micro, and also the role you play them in, so the macro, you have to check out our website at gameleap.com. That will be linked in the description and comment section. Our Challenger players and coaches who used to be where you're at right now have climbed all the way to the top of the ladder. We can teach you how to do just that via our library of content on the website. All you have to do is sign up to get exclusive access to that content, just like thousands of other summoners. So while you're doing that, let's start off the countdown at number 10 by talking about one of the most, well, prolific top laners in the game, this being Malphite. Now, to be honest, Malphite, if you blind pick him even in lower elos, it might be a little bit risky because you're going to run into champions who love playing against tanks or just a champion whose main kind of weakness is AP. So if you're blind picking Malphite only to play against a Sylas, a Mordekaiser, a Cho'Gath, any of those AP champions, you're not really using Malphite at his full strength. Ideally, you want to be using this big monolith as a counter pick to those attack damage champions. So something like an Aurelia, something like a Jax, something that also uses attack speed like those champions, because your E is such a big cuck to those attack speed champs. It slows their attack speed to the point where they can't even lift their weapon. So Malphite would be a great counter pick, and I'd only really blind pick him if it's good for your team composition. So if you have a Yasuo mid, if you have a jungler who's more assassin and doesn't actually bring that much CC to the party, you know, maybe to complement like a wombo combo composition. But for the most part, man, Malphite, according to the stats, across the board, he's picked in over 7% of matches, and to have close to a 52% win rate, it really suggests that Malphite is certainly rock solid. Now, coming in at number 9, one of those junglers who would probably appreciate playing with a Malphite on their team, this is Kha'Zix. Now, Kha'Zix in lower elos, I actually don't think many people know how to play this champion properly, but he still has over a 51% win rate, and he's picked in over 10% of games. That classifies Bugsplat as an S+ tier champion. Now, what I mean when people don't know how to play this champion in terms of micro, I mean like in terms of ganking lanes and actually how to team fight and all that stuff, right? Most people will stuff up their E, they'll probably use their E when they don't have to, even in terms of comboing properly or using their Q first before auto-attacking. There are a bunch of little micro techniques you need to know about, but despite all that, you're probably still going to get kills because this champion is just outright OP at the moment, especially when you get to Duskblade or Draktar. The buffs to this item a few patches ago, where it actually increased the damage you deal and the actual HP threshold you deal that extra damage, it has made any champion with Duskblade really good again. And because Kha'Zix, yeah, like I said, is just such a good champion anyway, this has really pushed him over the edge, even when lower ranks are considered. Now, number 8, we're going to stay in the jungle here, and this includes both versions of this champion, this being Kayn. So whether you're playing Red Kayn or Blue Kayn, overall the stats for Kayn are kind of nutty. He's actually banned in a lot of games, so over 14% of matches, but he's picked in 13.5%. And that's just so far in patch 13.15. Kayn has over a 51.5% win rate. So yeah, that's for both Blue Kayn and Red Kayn. That really suggests that this champion just outright is back to what he was. So Red Kayn if you're going like Gordrink with Black Cleaver, Blue Kayn if you're going Duskblade into Mirror Mana, into Prowler's Claw, Edge of Night, whatever it is you're going. Both versions, Shadow Assassin and Rast, are really popping off at the moment. I think it has something to do with the fact that lots of people in lower elos don't know how to punish Kayn, especially in the early game before his form, so you're going to see probably scaling champions more often than not higher up in these tier lists when lower elos are considered, rather than what you'd actually see in higher elos. So as Kayn, you're probably going to be able to full clear for the most part and get your form without really being behind at all. So you can actually abuse these power farming champions a bit more in lower elos because you're not going to run into those junglers who know how to punish you, and teams for that matter. So both forms of Kayn are here as well. Now moving to number 7, another champion who loves abusing Duskblade right now. This is one of the most banned champions in the game and probably will be for eternity because players just don't like playing against his kit, this being Zed. So he's banned in close to 40% of matches in every single rank averaged out, but he's still picked in over 12% of games, which means over 620,000 matches so far in 13-15, and he has over a 50% win rate. So this just makes Zed an S+ tier champion, and like I said, one of the big reasons why is because Duskblade is so good. Now, there is also some tech out there where you can go Ravenous Hydra with Futures Market and just rush this item and get the stacking going, and then you can go something like Duskblade after this, and whatever else you need after that, depending on the champions you're playing against. Also, the recent buffs to Zed have been pretty nice, whether it's to your Living Shadow or your Shadow Slash. Both of these have been pretty juicy, and they've made Zed pretty good again, especially if you know how to pilot him. In higher elos, he actually has really good stats as well, but the question is, do you know how to play this champion? Because don't just think, oh, I'm a low elo player, I can just pick Zed and win. That's really not the case. Remember, you're still only winning 50% of games. That means you're losing 50% of games as well. So if you really want to improve at this champion, you need to know all the intricacies to this champion. And again, our website will have all the videos to do just that, because there are a lot of little specificities you need to know about before just jumping into a ranked game in Zed and 1v9ing. Now, number 6, one or two supports on this countdown. This is a support who loves playing against those immobile champions like Enchantress's right and mobile AD carries, because after landing a rocket grab, they're gonna go boom, and their mental is going to go boom as well. This, of course, being Blitzcrank. Ever since really Riot buffed the damage in this towards the end of Season 12, it's pushed Blitzcrank, and he's been here really since then into the higher OP echelons. Blitzcrank being picked on over 8.5% of games, and he's banned a lot as well, in close to 27% of matches. Yeah, to have over a 50% win rate, definitely respectable, right? Which is why he's number 6 overall. And the ban rate, a bit like Zed's, really just goes to show how many players just don't appreciate playing against a Blitzcrank. He's a pretty cheesy champion, even the level 1 invading stuff, and like I said, it's just if you're not paying attention, one rocket grab can spell the end of your game. So Blitzcrank is here. I just recommend picking the Crank into those immobile bot lanes. I think blind picking him is risky, given the fact that there is Rel out there, Leona, Alistair, Braum, Taric. Lots of champions do very well into Blitz and would be more than happy seeing him. But be a little bit careful about just picking this Bumblebee from Transformers lookalike. Now, coming in at number 5, the best support in the game according to the all-ranked statistics, this is Xerath. Now, because of the recent buffs to Xerath, guys, they've actually made him not good in the mid lane, but also really good in the support role, even more OP than what he was. Reason being is because, well, you can't make use of the passive you have, right? Because you're not last hitting minions. But you are going to be hitting towers, which still procs your passive, and on top of this, you have more charges in your ultimate now. So that means when you hit level 6, and remember in the bot lane, you have more chance to hit the enemy champions, and also more targets to go for. So potentially more kills, more assists for you. This has actually been huge. Now, once again, a bit like Blitzcrank, I'd highly recommend not blind picking Xerath as a support, because all of those quick engage champions, especially hook champions, they will destroy you, man. So if you're playing against the Crank, if you're playing against a Pyke, maybe a Thresh, a Nautilus would definitely be in there. You have to be careful, man. I'd only be picking Xerath when you know the enemy support has no form of gap closing seriously whatsoever. So if it's something like a Soraka, if it's something like a Renata, a Emilio, you will crush them because they can never touch you. So think about that before you pick the floating blue guy. Now, coming in at number 4, this is the second best AD carry. Now, to be picked in over 16% of games, that's over 800,000 matches in about 5 days, that's kind of when you know a champion is good and also enjoyed. And this, of course, is Ashe, the best Trinity Force abusing AD carry. And yeah, I'd probably say that in most elos. The reason why Ashe is so broken is because of all of the buffs to her passive recently, and also the buffs to her W's damage that came in a few patches ago. They've made Ashe good again. And that's really for Ashe ADC, because you can abuse Trinity Force, whether you're going something like Kraken Slayer and then into Trinity Force. Surely I don't have to get into this too much. You pretty much have 0 counters when you play Ashe AD carry. You're very good in lane, you bring great utility to a team because of your E and of course your ultimate, and you have so much DPS as well. No one is going to escape. Even the new Ghost is abusable too, because it's lasting longer. Yes, it might not reset on takedowns, but 15 seconds is a long as time. And using this in teamfights, well, you're probably going to make the most out of it because teamfights will last around 15 seconds. So Ashe AD carry is number 4 in the countdown. Now, the best top laner, according to these stats, number 3 on this countdown is a champion who loves playing against close range top laners, especially those tanks, this being Illaoi. Now, there are certain matchups that are difficult for you, so anything with range is really going to cuck you here. So something like a Yorick throwing his E out, something like a Heimerdinger with his towers, something like a Mordekaiser who's spellcasting from range. These are really bad matchups, so I'd highly recommend actually banning one of these, probably Mordekaiser, because he's the most popular out of them, in order to boost your chances of getting a really free lane as a Lowy. Also, champions with dashes do pretty well because they can just dodge your E. Champions who are very linear, who jump into you, Lowy really does well into, and she is banned in 16.5% of matches. That goes to show once again, like lots of these champions on this countdown, that people don't like playing against her. Even if you play really well, there's still every chance that Lowy just lands one E and you're doomed. You're gonna die or lose all your HP bar, and now you're under tower and she gets like 3 tower plays, 2 more waves, and GG. So Lowy is number 3, the best top laner. Now the best AD carry, guys, and if you have enjoyed this video, please let us know by leaving a like down below. The best AD carry for 13-15. If you want to pick a champion who's even better than Ashe, and according to these stats only has 2 real counters, this is Misfortune. Now, if you're abusing Infinity Edge on Misfortune, if you're abusing Dustblade potentially on Misfortune, just going full lethality, there are so many options for you here. But Misfortune, generally speaking, in over 16% of games, that's her pick rate, she has over a 52% win rate. That is when you know this champion is legit. And she hasn't really been like buffed or nerfed at all really in Season 13. She's kind of just been chilling according to the items, whether it's like Dustblade getting buffed, Infinity Edge getting buffed, right? A couple of patches ago, they've really pushed her into being OP. I also think in the bot lane, because engaged supports are back, it's amazing for Misfortune because of your bullet time, that's right, your ultimate. Having a Nautilus next to you, having a Rel next to you, these champions when they land their combos, right, and they land their ultimates and their chain CC, you just press R and everyone in front of you dies. It's a pretty obnoxious way of playing, but it is very easy to execute and just easy to play. But the most broken champion of the entire patch, with a pick rate 10% lower than Misfortune, so a 6% pick rate, the newest champion on the Rift is carving up, literally, play at the moment, this being Neferi as a mid laner. And this champion's ban rate is 54%. Now, if that doesn't speak volumes to you guys out there, then I don't know what will. Even in high relos, if you go Master and above, her ban rate is over 50%. Players just think this champion is super OP, super broken. And I guess it would be because, yeah, Riot want her to be broken, so they make a bit of bank. But these are the stats, guys. To have over a 52.5% win rate from close to 300,000 matches, that's when you know a champ is busted. So Neferi boasts the #1 position, and those were the 10 most broken champions, guys, for patch 13-15, but predominantly lower ELOs. Any questions, any thoughts, please leave them in the comment section, and I will see you on our next Season 13 upload. This has been Coach Iggs. Peace.